Between me and
She's
Virginia.
already for it.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the San Mateo County Harbor District Board of Harbor Commissioners for January 17th, 2024. Can we have a roll call, please?
President Zemke,
Present?
Commissioner Matoush, Commissioner Chang Crawley, Commissioner Slater Carter. Here. Commissioner Donnerat.
We have time for public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the commission on any item that is not on the agenda. I assume you're Steve.
Yes.
Okay. Just go ahead.
And about the thing, we had I've been here since the late 70s, and we had a tragic accident here with a plane crash. And this is the first time in the history of that period of time that the patrol boat didn't respond to this accident, because we've changed our 24/7 policy, and 3 people wound up dying in this accident. They may have been dead when the plane crashed, but we have to assume that these people were alive when this plane went down. And we're really well staffed here as far as the patrolman level goes. It doesn't have any of some of maybe the problems that we have here up at the upper levels of management. And this was just decided, it was just pulled out of the blue. We're not going to cover 24/7 anymore. But they didn't tell anybody about that. And it's really important that that happens, or morally, I mean, maybe we can get away with some legality that, like, hey, we created this curious liability, and there's piers, and breakwaters, and launch ramps. And maybe we don't have to have a 24/7 facility or 24/7 search and rescue. Maybe we don't have to do that. But morally, we've been doing it for the last 50 years. And all of a sudden we decide to stop doing it. We don't put another matrix in there. Like, hey, let's get the Coast Guard in here. Let's create a volunteer thing. Let's do some type of cliff rescue kind of thing. I mean, this is a real tragedy that this has happened. We have money. We've spent millions of dollars on things that maybe are never going to recoup our money. We don't have an overtime budget for our patrol staff. What type of public agency doesn't have some type of overtime budget for something? Maybe we don't want to go over our budget, or hey, we're getting close, we got to be careful. But I just think that our supervisor's going to be informed. Ray Mullen, he's all about.
We do allow 2 minutes for this, so.
Okay, he's all about public safety. Well, there's nobody else here. Can I just keep taking 2 minutes and we can maybe get to the bottom of this?
In fairness to the public, we do limit it to 2 minutes. So if you could wrap it up.
All right. Well, I want you guys to think about this. I want you guys to go and look in the mirror and decide, and maybe legally, maybe you can tell them, hey, we did create this curious liability, and we need to mitigate some of the safety issues here. That could be something you could discuss with the board. And if not, please, you guys, come on, and reinstall the 24/7 thing until you find another matrix that you can find to do that. Please. The citizens of San Mateo County deserve a little bit better than that. Thank you guys. You guys have a thank you. I wish you were a reporter. I was hoping the news would be here, because I would want red letters, San Mateo County Harbor Commission, 3 dead, because you guys couldn't figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hey, thanks guys. Good morning.
Okay. Moving along to commissioner comments. Do we have any commissioners that would like to make a comment this time?
Yeah.
Yes, question. Mr. Catherine Slater.
Up first.
Okay.
No,
Tom? Okay, we'll give Tom first right here.
I'm enjoying seeing the immense amount of business from the harbor being busy from crab. Today is the first day they'll be able to start bringing crab in. So it's not only good to see this a vibrant fishing harbor, but it's also good to see the efforts on behalf of Pelagic Restaurant Group. Looks busy. There's been a lot of cars in the harbor, and it sure looks a lot better than when we were effectively a ghost town.
Amen. Catherine.
This is a more regional government issue. Last night, the CSDA, California Special District Association, and we're a member of the statewide organization, but this is the San Mateo County chapter, had our first meeting in a long time. This is an organization whose mission is to work and speak and represent special districts, independent special districts. There's two kinds of special districts. There's dependent ones and independent ones. And the dependent ones are overseen by larger government entities like either the county or a city. They don't have a whole lot of interest in the finer points of special districts. So I'm happy that we have Jim Pruitt in particular has resurrected this group. So we're going to be meeting quarterly. I will probably be making announcements on the CSDA has gone from being little regional groups into a statewide organization. And what it does is guide the regional groups, and it also has a very large training arm. It does the Special District Institute and training for all kinds of roles in special districts that are good fundamentals. And it also has turned into a lobbying organization for special districts because the cities and the counties and the state all think of special districts more like mosquitoes. You know, we're just annoying. And if they could just get our money, they'd be happier. They are also going nationwide to get a federal bill to define special districts so that we will be able to become this district, because it's a harbor district, is already eligible, but most of the small districts are not. So this will be a big help. So this is a big step forward, and thank you.
Very good. George, do you have any comments? Nope.
Do
Okay.
you have to cover this or not?
Which one? No, I haven't read that yet.
I don't know if this was received too late or if we should read it today.
It was received right before the meeting and it's being posted on our website. The board has the discretion if they would like to read it or not.
I'll defer to the president's judgment.
Okay, well, I can read this. It has come to the attention that the Harbor District doesn't assist coastside fire and water with a floating plane crash 2 miles from the harbor where 4 people died. I'm not sure if that's the right figure or not, because the district did away with their overtime to save money. What about this? What is the cost of a life? Okay, and this was submitted by Peter Wiggin this morning, just before the meeting. Okay. Okay, enough on commissioner comments then. Let's go to the activities report. Jim, would you start that off?
Fantastic. The harbors, as Commissioner Mateo said, is buzzing right now. We should have for off the boat sales by tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon, but for sure in full swing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the harbor is going to be extremely busy. Harbor Master has been authorized to staff the harbor as he needs to ensure the safety. And he's been able to do that. So looking forward to a great off the boat sales, and also for the fish buyers getting crab delivered and out Pillar Point Harbor. So that's great news for us. The purchase of the launch ramp property is all on schedule to close by January 31st, and there's no hiccups or concerns at this time. We're just moving through the escrow process. So that's all good news. And then an update on the restroom and green space project at Surfers Beach is moving quickly. You can see the project is now that it's above ground and working on the structure itself, it's moving very quickly. And we should be done, I think it's March, correct?
Toward the end of March.
End of March, that'll be done and ready to be open to the public. And we're working on the lease amendment with Nurhan Properties right now to take over that section from his lease and transfer it to us.
Okay.
And then we're also working on some of the lease issues within that 25-year option. Other than that, and the stuff reported in my staff report, that's all we have going on right now.
Operations. John?
As everybody's aware, we had some historic swell at Mavericks. It was very, that created large crowds and made us very busy during the month of December, latter part of December. I'd like to mention that we did have one of our own, Deputy Harbor Master Ben Andrews, that was out there. I saw pictures where he caught some of the huge waves paddling in. A few years ago, Ben Andrews actually won the WSL Worldwide paddle in first place. He's a remarkable individual and a great asset working there at Pillar Point Harbor for us. We're at 90%, or during December, we were at 90% occupancy, and now are, because of, as Commissioner Matoush and General Manager Pruitt brought to your attention, crab season is well underway. Actually be selling on the docks. There's a lot of activity with everybody having been, all the boaters been putting in crab traps, etc. So it's been extremely busy. Oyster Point Marina is going great, hovering around 76% occupancy. Staff continue to do all the necessary maintenance work there, doing an excellent job. The city of South San Francisco has just begun a third phase of a development project there, where they are doing upgrades to the trails, kind of flattening out the trail and repaving. So be good to let everybody know that there will be some impacts, negative impacts to traffic and or to parking and to the trail, being able to be able to walk their dogs, etc. on the trail. We're trying to keep open as much of that as we possibly can. You have anything else?
Okay.
Just a quick update, John, if you can give a summary of where we are with the dredge project.
Right. Our consultant Damitz is continuing to work through the final permitting challenges with Surfers Beach. We are still on track to begin in the spring with the eelgrass mitigation. He has done a remarkable job dealing with NOAA and other permitting agencies and addressing the challenges that have been coming up, continue to come up. Most recently, a requirement for an EA, which is a environmental assessment report that can be very challenging, but in discussion with permitting agencies, they're kind of putting it on a more streamlined, more quick process, and it looks like it's not going to slow us down any. So we're excited that the project's still on schedule for beginning this spring.
Any one hiccup could the edge of that point.
We don't have a lot of
And if it
wiggle room,
goes any
yeah.
further, we're going to push to 20.
Yeah.
So we are pushing real hard on the permitting and working with the agencies, the Marine Sanctuary, the Army Corps, to get the permits. But John's very optimistic we'll be able to get them in time. I'm not necessarily that optimistic, and I think we're on schedule now, but we're at great risk of pushing to 20
next year. Okay.
So I just want to make sure that the board is aware of that and also put it in the public record that we're working on it, we're on schedule, but any hiccup or any delay will push us to 25.
George, you had a comment.
John, Jim sent us a little note about some areas within the harbor that have been showing about shoreline areas that are starting to be challenging to us. Do you have any more information on that? Some of the
But I
challenges?
didn't ask Jim, I didn't see that. I've heard some people, wanting Surfers Beach project. Some members of the community, wanting the Surfers Beach project to begin immediately, begin quicker, and are disappointed, as we all are, that it's not started yet. And then there's been some discussion in that realm that we should be hurrying up with this project because some vessels are restricted by draft in our harbor. I've not ever heard that complaint. We do have, fortunately, with us Commissioner Matoush, that had a charter boat in the harbor and on H-dock for decades. And he may be able to say if he's ever heard of any challenges. I've just personally not heard of any challenges with regard to vessels being restricted by draft. However, I do know that general manager did receive, like I say, I believe a complaint from somebody saying that the entrance channel was a challenge for him. Is that right, Jim?
It was reported through the fuel dock that the Coast Guard and also fully loaded boats that are coming in to get fuel are challenged by some high spots, and they have to go around them or navigate carefully around them to avoid grounding. And that's the extent of it. I talked with the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard says there's not a real big issue. They can still safely get to the dock, but of course they're, like any mariner, careful to avoid those high spots.
Is there, in terms of normal dredging within the harbor, not for Surfers Beach, but at the boat launching ramps, what's the condition in there? Do we do a condition survey once a year?
At present, our launch ramp, after our last year's storms, we did have some shoaling in our launch ramps that compromised use at the extreme low tides. However, after we did that emergency project that actually FEMA and Cal OES reimbursed us to remove all of that sand that shoaled from those historic storms, we've not had any more issues at the launch ramp. When we do the Surfers Beach project, we are planning to remove large quantities of sand from all around the launch ramp, which will assist us even further, of course. And also there is a lot of people use the anchorage area that's right in front of the launch ramp or off the side of the launch ramp to the south east. That area has been showing in for years. That is not an area that is I guess compromising anybody coming into our actual harbor, to use our slips or to get to the fuel dock. That area for the small boats that use the launch ramp is still plenty of water, plenty of depth for them to be able to exit. And
Thank you so much.
Tom, did you have any comments?
We had emailed to the entire board or the district about a date to begin the dredging. Somebody that was concerned with Highway 1. Just want to state publicly that it's not the Harbor District that is holding this whole thing up. As General Manager Pruitt indicated, it's permitting and different agencies. I wonder if it would help to somehow have a list of here's why we can't proceed. This is the agency that's holding us up now. This is what we're waiting on. I don't know if there's a way to reference that so that people would see that it's not our great staff here. It's permitting agencies elsewhere. In addition, when we talk about, I had a boat here, I'll tell you, there's some high spots that on these low tides, if you go to use the public hoist, I would drive, I only had 4 foot of draft and I'd go through mud to get to the public hoist. So there is a big high spot right at that turn. And I've seen boats stuck in the mud, leaning over. So just something to think about, because our dredge plan does not include the inner harbor at this point. It's just the outer harbor.
And what's important about all that is to document where those hotspots are with some kind of, even if it's just a harbor survey, if you survey it yourself. The reason for that would be is, we're considering looking at the potential of a section 103, which is a small navigation project to designate actual federal channels in those areas that then can get dredged. Right now, there are no federal channels within that harbor. The only part of the project that is federal government is the where it was. But we're looking at, now we're starting to get challenged by some of these shoaled areas within the harbor. And is that our approachways, not docks or slips, but approachways in those channels would be able to fit under, federal dredging if we document it. So the important part is to document whatever those are. And we certainly don't want our fishermen to get.
General manager's direction or board, we can actually hire a firm to do an updated bathymetric survey of the entire inner harbor and the channel going all the way out.
We do that once a year after winter.
We don't do it. We only do it when it's needed for projects.
We can come back with a future report if the board's interested. But we can't get kind of going off the agenda.
The agenda here, yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Well, and so I want to come back to this under future agenda items because there's a couple things I'd like included in it. Thank you.
Okay.
Item G.
Okay. Julie, Administration and Finance.
Thank you, President Zemke. Good morning, Commissioners. We're continuing to work on the public records request, collection of past due accounts, our annual audit, implementation of the ClearGov budget system, and investigating the potential for alternative investments. We've completed the ERP Cloud Innovation Project, and we have also decommissioned our old software products and replaced the district server, which has decreased the district's risk. It's not open to as many threats now as that was previously. And so that's just brief summary. Thank you.
That's so important. I was just reading about a huge computer failure, and it was thought to have been created by Iranian interests attacking public interest websites like the Harbor District or like sewer districts or things like that. And it's critical, and financial institutions as well. So it's critical for us to keep on top of how to protect ourselves from essentially computer terrorism.
Anything else? No. Okay. Any further commissioner comments? I assume we had no public comments on this ahead of time. Okay. We can move along then to the consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar that commissioners wish to pull?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Okay. There a second?
I will second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent calendar. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Matoush,
Aye.
Mr. Chang Crawley, aye. Mr. Slater Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Domrat,
Aye.
President Zemke.
Aye. Okay, that moves us along to the discussion items. The first item is the board reorganization. Jim.
Welcome to the new year. This is our first board meeting in January. Every year at this point, we elect a board president to serve for the current year, so 2024, vice president, board secretary, board treasurer, and then also the LAFCO representative. So with that, I will turn it over to President Zemke to run through the election process.
Okay, before we do that too, I would like to express my appreciation to the staff in the past year for their assistance in making these boards operate efficiently, for having the agendas prepared, the reports clear and concise, and also to our legal advice, to Trish, to keeping us on the straight and narrow through the past year. And also too, I want to thank my fellow commissioners for their cooperation in the last year. It has been a pleasure being the president of this board. It's run smoothly. Everybody's stepped up to accept assignments on ad hoc committees. The attention to detail has been very good. Comments have been succinct and on point, and meetings have run very, very good, very easy. So this has been a pleasure for me to serve as your president. So I will take nominations for president for 2024.
I nominate Tom Mateusz.
Tom.
Okay, I hear
I'll nominate Tom.
a first and
Yeah.
a second for Tom Mateusz. And we can close unless there are no further nominations, we'll close the nomination. And can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Chang Crowley,
Aye.
Mr. Slater Carter, Commissioner Domrat,
Aye.
President Zemke,
Aye.
Mr. Matoush.
Aye.
Okay, very good. I'm going to hand this gavel over.
Well, wait, before you do that, I want to thank you, Bill, for being such a great president this
Oh,
year.
thank you.
And getting through our agendas and getting a lot of work done. I think that's the name of the game here.
I think we've had a very, very productive year. A lot of things came up that we didn't anticipate, which probably took us off track a bit, but I think it all worked very, very well. We have a lot accomplished this year.
Thank you.
I wanted to thank you also because you handle situations with great class, and you're a wonderful role model on how to run a meeting. And you in particular have stepped forward to do so much, particularly with the general manager's review, and thank you. It's been a good first year for me with you as president.
Thank you. Okay, Tom, I'll let you do the next one.
All right, we're open for nominations for the position of board vice president.
Well, I'll nominate Catherine Slater Carter.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Slater Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Domrat,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
President Matoush,
Aye.
and Mr. Chang Crowley.
Aye.
Catherine, congratulations. I look forward to working with you this term.
Oh, I think we're gonna have fun, Tom. We'll keep this going the way it should.
Excellent. Could we have nominations for board secretary?
George is our current secretary. I'll nominate George. Are
I'll
you okay
second
with
that.
that? Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had any other nominations? Do we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Domrat,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
President Matoush,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang Crowley,
Aye.
Mr. Slater Carter.
Yes.
Okay, George, welcome to your term as secretary again. You did a fine job. We look forward to you continuing in the same vein.
Thank you, sir.
Now the board treasurer, somebody to look after our purse
I'd
strings.
like to nominate Virginia.
Thank you. I'll accept that
I
nomination.
will second that.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Are there any other nominations for board secretary, for board treasurer? Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Domrat,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
President Matoush,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang Crowley,
Aye.
Commissioner Slater Carter.
Yes.
And we'll close our nomination on item F1 with the board alternate to LAFCO.
I'll not. Yeah, I can nominate you.
I'd love to do that.
So my understanding, Jim, y'all had a LAFCO meeting yesterday. You're the president, right?
No, CSDA.
Oh, CSDA.
No.
Oh, to serve as the alternate.
You're on
Okay,
LAFCO.
I'm on LAFCO. Yeah.
Right, and I'm the secretary of
Yes.
CSDA.
Yeah, never mind. I'm getting LAFCO and CSDA mixed up. Yes, so I'm nominating you to be the alternate.
Here's the way you keep them separate. CSDA is all about special districts. LAFCO is all about annihilating special districts.
Well said. Are there any other nominations for alternate to LAFCO? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
President Mathush,
Aye.
Jen Crowley,
Aye.
Commissioner Slater Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Domrat.
All right, item F2. This would be Rachel.
Good morning, President Mathush and commissioners. Thank you so much for allowing me to introduce, and it's Rochelle, but the spelling's tricky. Thank you for allowing me to introduce this item for discussion today. At last month's board meeting, the Commemorative Bench Program Ad Hoc Committee, comprising of Commissioner Domrat and Commissioner Shane Crawley, reported out the work that the committee had accomplished during the fall. The committee's work culminated in a recommendation, plan, and structure to relaunch a commemorative memorial bench program at Pillar Point Harbor. At the December meeting, a resolution was passed to notice the proposed additional rates and fees to allow for public comment at this meeting. Today, there is a resolution to be considered to approve rates and fees, a commemorative bench program agreement, and a waiting list application. And these items would support the relaunch of a commemorative bench program. On the administrative side, I would just comment that it would really be the intention on the backside of this program to take 6 to 8 weeks, should this resolution be approved, so that all of the pieces are in place and run smoothly for a program like this. We would want to ensure that the public experience would be flawless. So I would just want the public to know that if this was approved today, the program would not be launched tomorrow, that we would have some additional time to be able to build out a web page and to promote the program fairly across the paper and social media, so that everybody would have the opportunity to participate in a fair way. So thank you very much.
All right, do we have any commissioner comments on item F2, the bench program resolution?
The only comment, I guess, if I can, that I would have, I'm assuming that to date, or at least nobody recalls that we've had requests for memorial benches at Oyster Point. I would assume that there isn't really a demand at that particular location.
Not aware of any requests.
But I guess my only comment, this would make a good template if and when we got to the point where we had a request for memorial bench at Oyster Point.
The issue at Oyster Point is we own the floating stock. We don't own the land.
Ah, okay.
Right.
We don't want benches on floating stock.
Yeah.
No.
So maybe we approach.
Oyster Point will be very.
So it would have to
It'd be
be,
different.
it would basically be between South San Francisco and the Harbor District, whether or not they would put in, okay,
It'd have to be a joint.
a joint recognition.
But it's so quick. Oh, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, would there be value in sending a notice to the South San Francisco that we have established this program, and it could be a model if they would be interested in having it?
And I think it would be a good thing to bring up at our next liaison committee meeting. I mean, that's probably the appropriate place.
Yeah, but I mean, does this have to be specifically for Pillar Point Harbor? Can it be for the Harbor District, just so that we have flexibility? I mean, because it is very, I know, and I know why it's for Pillar Point Harbor, but if it's the Harbor District's policy, it could be named that instead of Pillar Point Harbor. I don't know. I'm just putting that.
I would suggest that since we don't have it, rather to keep the public comfortable, we keep it for Pillar Point.
Yeah.
That said, I suggest that the South City Liaison Committee talk to South City about it. We can always change the name of the policy and expand it pretty easily, but people get, and I think it's a good thing because South City is trying to promote pedestrians and bicycles and that kind of thing, and seniors and small children and all kinds of people make use of these benches. Just people going to enjoy at South City, it would be the sunrise. So that's not a whole lot of traffic, but there's all the folks from the ferries and so on. So I think it's a good idea to work with South City on it, but and we need to postpone, did I hear we need to postpone approving this for 6 weeks or?
No, my comment was just that in administration, I would just want to make sure all the bells and whistles that accompany a program like this, the vendors that we'll need to use are in place. I want the experience from the public to be flawless. You know, when you're memorializing someone, it can be stressful, and I just want it to be a positive experience to interact with us and have us support them through a plaque. And so I just want to make sure we have the time to have everything just right so that the experience is pleasant for any family or individual coming through to.
I think
do
that's
this.
that's a great thought. So
We'll approve it.
We'll
and then
approve
just
it.
move
Yes.
forward with it.
And I'll just need a little bit of time to
Yeah.
make sure everything.
Before we
And then-
advertise it.
And then we can add
Yes.
it as a website or something.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 23-19, authorizing staff to publish the proposed amendments to the district rates and fees. And have staff continue working on this.
We have an
Second.
alternate
I think that's the wrong.
to amend your motion to the motion at hand.
Sure. Why am I? I'm missing something, sorry.
No, the staff report has the
The wrong,
wrong number,
okay. So
Apologize for that.
basically, okay, so.
2401.
Actually, I recommend that you read the motion from the agenda,
I am reading it, but there.
the actual agenda. I can read it.
Oh,
Adopt-
I've got, well, here, okay.
Oh, not the
So
staff
I've
report.
got, okay, so there's this approved resolution number 24-01 to amend. well, Okay, hold on. The staff report that motion should match the agendas and.
It should.
Yeah,
Error on my part.
okay, so,
I'm glad you're not sick.
well, so it says to amend the rates and fee schedule to impose
got your
fees for
word.
the cost of the commemorative bench program and approve operating documents for such program.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Mathush,
Aye.
Commissioner Jane Crawley,
Aye.
Commissioner Slater Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Domrat,
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, item F3. This is handled by General Manager Pruitt.
Okay, 01, 02. Good afternoon, President Mathush, Commissioners. The June meeting is currently scheduled for June 19th, which is a recognized holiday for the district as Juneteenth. So staff will be recognizing that holiday and the offices will be closed on that. So we're recommending that the board move the June meeting 1 week earlier to June 12th. And approve, to affect that, approve resolution 2402.
I'll make a motion to change the board meeting, regular board meeting from June 19th, 2024 to June 12th, 2024, in honor of Juneteenth.
I'll second that. And Father's Day.
Did I hear a second?
Yes,
Catherine, second.
Okay.
somewhere it's Father's Day, I think, as I read on my
We have a
calendar.
first and a
but-
second. Can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Jane Crawley,
Aye.
Commissioner Slater Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Domrat,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
Commissioner Mathush.
Right, item G on our agenda, future agenda topics. I believe Commissioner Slater Carter had a idea.
Yeah, when we do the report on the dredging, right, and the lumps in the harbor and all of that stuff, I'd like to see a section and a list of all the administrative agencies that have to review this kind of thing. It's for transparency and for the public to understand. We no longer make our decisions all by ourselves. These things have to go through probably 10,000 people, most of whom know nothing even about where this district is, much less the conditions of the harbor or the public. And I want that kind of transparency to be in that report, because again, people come up here and they, like at public comment this morning, and they say, oh, you're not doing this, you didn't do that, shame on you, it's your job. We're going, wait a minute. Let's lay the story out so that myth doesn't persist that, no, the board decided you didn't want to do the dredging. No. We wanted to do the dredging every year for a long time, but there are other things, other agencies that put handcuffs on us. So I'd like those listed.
I could summarize, that was two different items.
Oh, sorry.
You want a future agenda item to a report on and to discuss the harbor deaths and bringing in Commissioner Pomeront's, I wanted to say Commissioner George, Pomeront's comments about federal channels and how that relates. That's one of them. The other one was you want to report on the permitting process of the dredge project with timelines.
Yeah.
Okay, the staff and I can put together reports on both of those issues and bring them to future boards if the board that's board's direction.
Thank you.
And maybe as part of that, to help the public understand and visualize it, one of the products can be kind of a flow chart or Gantt chart or a tree that says if the material is contaminated, you got to go this direction. If it's uncontaminated, you go this direction. And so those are both different things, but we're just saying yes or no.
By the time we finish.
It probably is.
It should be, because the public doesn't understand the depths of invasive bureaucracy into the functions of a special district.
Well, and especially for coastal issues,
Exactly.
especially for coastal.
I think a lot of that's already available, like from other areas and other. Showing the public that this is a very, very complicated process. That takes a lot of time.
Yes.
You're right, it would be a book.
Yeah.
Or something.
And it might even get a separate heading on our website, roadblocks and hassles. Or helpful advice from others.
Well, I recommended, I was speaking with Brad Damitz last week with all these different things. I said that he and I put together a paper for the next CMANC meeting, which will be in October. Not CMANC, the Western Dredging Association Pacific chapter. That will be up in Portland, saying the trials and tribulations of dredging a small harbor. Yes. And that's basically kind of everything we've been going through for a demonstration project of some sand on the beach.
Exactly.
We need to get that information out there, because the challenge of all these agencies is becoming unbearable. With staffing also. And that's the problem. And Brad will tell you that a lot of these places just don't have the staff.
Well,
so there's a challenge that needs to be solved.
Our legislators love to create oversight committees and then understaff them and underfund them. And the ones who pay for all of this in time and effort and money is the public.
Sure, Jane Crowley.
Yeah, so it's no secret here that I am a big proponent of water safety, and I know that the board has been, as has General Manager Pruitt. And in light of the situation or the incidents, 2 incidents this past weekend, I'm wondering if it makes sense, and I don't know if this is a future agenda item or something you can do as the new president, Tom, is to put together an ad hoc committee to look at search and rescue opportunities, what that means for training, staffing, money, if that's even the direction we want to go, head towards. But I do think that given some of the feedback we've gotten from the public and you know, that we're really, our harbor crew has really been great at being there. We should look at that as, you know, we should discuss it as a board and look at these opportunities to see how we can be more helpful, if it makes sense, and where we can get funding. But I mean, just explore that. So I don't know if that's a future agenda item.
It
or-
is a future topic and we'll
Okay.
take that into consideration.
Well, I mean, to put together an ad hoc
Yes.
committee. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Because I mean, that doesn't mean that we're gonna do this, but at least we're gonna explore it.
Right. So
Do we have to vote on these?
one of the topics for a future agenda item I would consider is we've got a lovely vibrant harbor here. We've got a vibrant harbor at Oyster Point. Our logo depicts a sailboat. And I'd like to have some discussion or future direction on having our logo more reflect the coast, what we do, our commercial fishing, whatever it is we come up with. But I'd like to start looking at a logo change.
Did we
Like a
include in that
marketing.
the cost to the district of a logo change? We have to change our trucks. A whole lot of different things. Oh, and the board members all get new jackets.
Well, I mean,
and
the point is
hats.
that we'd explore what that means.
The other one is over on top.
That's a future agenda topic.
Okay.
All right, the next meeting.
We have to vote on it.
So right now, we're good. Sorry. Commissioner Conrad.
I had one more, but go ahead.
Yeah, for a
All right,
future-
I'll make my statement after you.
I want to start, I've been thinking about this a lot, looking at how best to start this. I think help me, I would be on that committee, to start pursuing and researching an ocean science center at Harbor for the county. Different avenues that can go, that can be discussed under the purview of the San Mateo Community College system, which would then be, so this would be a kind of a research education facility for our colleges, even San Francisco State, because I don't know where they go. I know Davis has Bodega. That's a big facility. I'm not talking about anything that big. Stanford and UC goes to Moss Landing. We have a phenomenal availability of resources and need to do some research and education for our high schools and for our colleges. And for the people who can have a small aquarium that would feature the species in this region. So there's different ways of thinking of doing that. And I'd like to start getting us to start thinking about it and how to do it. I know it's going to take politics, it's going to take county, state politics. But I've already mentioned this to others who know of people with big dollars who would be very, very much interested in it. So there's a lot of things that could happen, but I think people would enjoy. Or, you know, it's just for the community and an aquarium kind of thing, but I'd like to see it be a kind of a small research facility, education facility for our colleges, high schools and colleges. It doesn't just have to be colleges. So
I'd like to add that part of the mission of this ad hoc committee should be a Bayside science as well at Oyster Point. I'm talking very long range. I'm not talking all at once, but I was shocked to find out that one of the beginnings of the BC Bay Conservation District and actually the environmental consciousness in the Bay Area was started by the duck hunters who were working to preserve wetlands.
Yeah.
And
Basically, they're.
a lot of people, and there is the Bay model in Sausalito, and maybe we can work together. Again, this is just long time from now, but with them, but I think it's part of our mission And I would like to see us celebrate the science and the environmental conditions, because that's why there's so many interested regulatory agencies.
The reason I didn't throw Oyster Point in at this time is because we do have at Redwood City Harbor, the Marine Science Institute. That's a nonprofit educational facility. They take kids out on boats in the day. They're bay centric. They are not ocean centric. Ocean is a different challenge, and you gotta, handle things differently. But that's why I kind of shied a little bit away from that side, and we're gonna focus kind of on.
Well, maybe,
For now, anyway,
maybe
but-
we could just post signs on the land we are in control of about Redwood City on both harbors.
It'll be something to work together with them, because they have I get their emails, they have a great, educational system set up for kind of more on the younger. That college level education research because they now have a oceanography program at Skyline, and they have an environmental group up
It
there.
could be regional down into
Yeah.
UCSC, but I mean, that's something that an ad hoc committee can explore.
Exactly.
So I
I
think that's a
hope
great
Bill,
idea.
who has it so easy right now, will volunteer to be on that ad hoc
Well,
committee.
I would enjoy being on that ad hoc committee.
Done that.
Yes.
Mr. President, if I may, that would be a great ad hoc committee for the board to consider at the next board meeting of creating that ad hoc committee. If the board is interested, it sounds like they are. And then that ad hoc committee comes back to the board with a report on what they are doing, what they can't do, what their mission statement is, and go from there.
I'd like to see that on our next agenda.
Just but not as an agenda item, it's just the ad hoc.
Ad hoc, yes.
If you create an ad hoc committee, same thing with the search and rescue, if you create an ad hoc committee.
Being like now?
No,
Next agenda.
Next
Okay.
meeting.
Next agenda, then we can have that ad hoc committee make a report to the board. The 3 agenda items that were brought up by the commissioners was 1, a report on the harbor depth, and come back to the board with that report. A report on the permitting process for the current Half Moon Bay Surfers Beach replenishment project, laying out the story of the permitting, and then also come back to the board with the beginning of the process of designing a new logo. And you may possibly assign an ad hoc committee to do that, but the staff will take a stab at it first and bring a couple examples to the board to consider. And then we can move on to get direction on the board to further change and update our logo, which I agree with. So there's 3 different future agenda items that the board needs to vote on if we're going to do it. And if majority of the board wants to do those 3 agenda items, staff will then prepare them.
So moved on the 3 agenda items: harbor depth permit process and interested parties, and design a new logo.
I'll second that.
Include in that motion, the 2 items, the 2 ad hoc committees that.
And
will come back on the
including,
agenda.
including forming the ad hoc committee for search and rescue and an ad hoc committee for the Ocean Science Center.
Okay, I'll second that.
We have a first and a second. Can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Domrat,
Aye.
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
Touche,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang Corrali,
Aye.
Commissioner Slater Carter.
All right, the next regular meeting will be held February 21st at the San Mateo County Harbor District Office, 504 Avenue Alhambra, Suite 200, El Granada, California, at 10 a.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been first and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Zemke,
Aye.
President Matoush,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang Corrali,
Aye.
Commissioner Slater Carter,
Enthusiastically.
Commissioner Domrat.
Great job.
Thank
Meeting is
you.
adjourned.
Congratulations, Tom.